The Do This podcast is part of the Win Make Give podcast network. In today's episode, special guest Charlotte Mabry returns to discuss the power of systems in real estate with your hosts Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams. Discover how effective onboarding, training, and tools like the day in the life of Brivity enhance agent productivity and profitability. This episode is perfect for team leaders and agents looking to streamline operations and boost performance. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast, presented by Brivity.
Hey, hello. Charlotte Mabry, good to see you.
Hey, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
We're excited to have you today. We're gonna just do this. We're gonna talk a little bit about some of the things you're doing in your business. Charlotte, you've been here before. This is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chad, Charlotte's our first repeat visitor.
I believe that is accurate, other than you coming back again, Bob. We get you now and then.
Okay. I wasn't here last time you had Charlotte as our guest. So, Chad, just really fast, that shirt is fire, my friend. Like, oh my goodness, you are living the Florida life down there. That is such a good shirt.
Thank you. When I show up at pickleball wearing it, they all hate it because they can't find the ball because the shirt's distracting them.
Sorry, Charlotte. I was distracted by that. Is good. It like matches your Brivity logo in the background and everything. Okay, Charlotte, do me a favor before we jump in here, because maybe some of these folks weren't here the last time you joined Chad. Can you do me a favor and introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, thank you. I am from Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we work the southeastern corner of Tennessee and the northern part of Georgia. And so excited about that. I've had a team of some sort for almost 30 years. I am finishing year 40, coming up on that in July. So I'm an old dinosaur. So there you go.
Wow. So you have a team that long? Like you were doing a team before it was fashionable.
I didn't have a clue what I was doing. It took me about 20 years. I should have been listening to you and Chad all along, but it took me that long to figure it out.
Charlotte, we weren't doing this stuff 20 years ago yet.
I mean,
nobody was doing this stuff 20
That's amazing. That's like, you're like in front of Gary Keller out doing teams and Ben Kinney out in front of him even. That's amazing. Okay. I would have to imagine that over the years, you have developed some systems to run in your business. And I think today what we want to kind of focus on is some of those systems. And then Charlotte, maybe like how you find the right fits for those, right? I mean, recruiting, and Chad and I kind of joke, we talk about that a lot here because, you know, if you lead a team, it's important.
Well, Bob, we know that the future, look, there's going to be the exception of the rules, yet everybody's either going to be on a team or running a team. Right. We just see that's the path real estate is going. So, yes, we talk about recruiting because if you want to lead that team, we're helping you. If you want to end up on a team, we're teaching you the things to look for is to find the right team to join. So that's why we have been doing it, Bob. Yet you're right. Charlotte's going to talk about helping us find the fits, yet it's mostly about the systems that she's working that make the team grow.
Okay, Charlotte, can you give me an example of a system that you guys have developed in your business that, you know, helps those agents that you are able to attract to your team be, let's say, more profitable?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're sitting in front of the sign of one of our main tools, and that's Brivity, of course. But, you know, having Brivity is one thing. Having people who use it is another. and then teaching people to use it. And it's not a snap process. It takes some time to get them there. But I think a step even before that is finding the right people who appreciate the system. We've just gotten an agent on our team, super sharp. She's been in business for a while, but hasn't sold anything. So we would consider her a new agent. But her main reason for leaving another team was they didn't have any sort of plan. Basically, they were like, you can do business any way you want to. And here's a few leads, go get them, you know. And that sounds great when you are leaving corporate America and you're like, I want to have freedom. But she found very quickly that she couldn't produce in that environment. And so she was looking for somebody that had onboarding, training, launch systems, and then the things like Brivity and the other tools that we have so that we can not only help her hold herself accountable, but help us hold us accountable. Are we delivering what we need to do for her as an agent as well?
Does this work for everybody? Like, does every agent you find be like, I can't wait to plug into a system?
To clone her, because she is the exception as real. So here's the flip side of it. Before you think I'm just so perfect, trust me, I'm not the poster child for anything. We also yesterday let go an agent that very talented, but his comments to us were, this launch thing and this stuff you ask us to do, I think it's boring. Well, yeah, it is. It's by design to be that way. And he said, they just move too slow. And so he would not do what we asked him to do on that front. And then we have rules and systems in our team, like, okay, you've got to be listing certified before you can go on a listing appointment because he's a new agent. Well, he would go on listing appointments without us, set appointments, and then blow it, and not because he didn't know what to say. He'd never done any training. He hadn't taken the time for that. And so, again, you can have all the want to in the world, but if you don't have some sort of training and systems and organization behind you, when you stand up in front of a client, you're not going to have all that you need, right? And so he just refused to be someone who would even use the system. So his comment was, well, I can find it on YouTube. and yes, you can find information on YouTube, but you can't find the experience on YouTube. I think that's really the difference.
You know what's so funny is he's saying that, which is kind of the same thing a FSBO would say to us, right? To say to him.
Yeah.
It would be, I can figure out how to sell my house on YouTube. Like, yeah, sure. Like, we could figure out how to do heart surgery on YouTube. It's probably not a good idea.
Yes, it's definitely not, Bob. I do not want you YouTube certified working on my heart. You know what I'm hearing from Charlotte, and I don't know why it's clicking today and it has not clicked in the past. All I can hear is Mr. Miyagi talking, right? Daniel's got to wax the car a certain way. He's got to sand the floor a certain way. And when Daniel's attempting to sand the floor, well, Mr. Miyagi, no, you do it this way. And when he's painting the fence, no, you do it this way. And then all of a sudden we have that wonderful scene in the original Karate Kid where Daniel blocks everything Miyagi's throwing at him because he doesn't realize it because he's been taught. And that I'm hearing that from Charlotte. Look, you do this and do it this way and just keep doing it. And trust me, the car will be clean. And when the time comes, you'll be able to block that punch because we've taught you this mechanic in your body. It'll be in your mind for you. It's just such a powerful way for someone getting into the business, for someone having mid-level business and wanting to grow, to say, I'm not Cobra Kai, I'm Miyagi.
Right. And I feel like, as we're in different stages of our business, what we need to learn and the systems we have to put in place, those change too. As a new agent, what we're going to be working on every day is quite different of somebody. Now you've got a team. I meet so many people that have teams and they've started them and then they're like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. And these people want things. I don't know how to provide them. Well, there's systems wrapped around how do you run a team and how do you help your people grow, not just yourself grow. And so I think that's where most teams, at least in my area, are lacking in that world. And gosh, we can improve by so many factors on my own team. But at least I think we're pointed in the right direction of knowing that we've got to show these systems, to put pressure on people to use the systems, because ultimately it's like I'm flying to Phoenix next week and looking forward to seeing you guys there. When I go to the airport in Atlanta, because everything goes through the Atlanta airport, right?
It's a system.
It's a system, right? And, if I want to go to heaven, I got to go through the Atlanta airport, especially if I'm going Delta, right? So, I can either get to another concourse by walking there, or I can get on the moving sidewalk, or I can get on the tram, right? So all of those will get me there. But if I want to get there in a timely manner, I choose the tram. So I think that's really the best analogy for these systems is, yes, it seems monotonous. Yes, you might like to do it differently, but there are people out there proving like you guys, these things work. And it's just, we've got to get on with the program and hop in there.
So you mentioned the listing certification. So let's just go to that one for a second. I can remember Ben, years and years ago, talking about the reason that he would like on his early team, if you wanted to go do listings, essentially in his name. Because Charlotte, when your agents go out, they go sit in somebody's living room, they're doing it in your name, right? Ultimately, it's your brand that they're representing. And I remember Ben would actually take his people, let's say Anthony Zapata, he wanted to be able to go out and do listings. He had to memorize the listing presentation and give it to the rest of the team. And the rest of the team was like, okay, yes, I vote Anthony can go out and represent us to the public, right? How do you guys do it? Like, how do you get somebody listing certified today?
Very same thing. And first they go along with us as our sidekick. Once they have presented things to us and we say, it sounds good, then we go along as their sidekick still for a little bit to make sure that they didn't just get it right that one time. One of the dangers in sending your team members out is, we want to be sure we're delivering the same message. And I want to be sure that someone isn't saying, oh, yeah, we're going to give you a free dumpster and I'll get you your own car and, you can have my firstborn. And then we go to the next client and we don't promise those things, right? So it's to keep everything uniform and to make sure that we're not offering something we're not supposed to.
Bob, that's a great point you brought up. Charlotte, I'm glad you do the same thing. When I was a listing agent, Rick and Terry Brinkus is who I learned to be a listing agent from. And they made me list their house. Like they sat across the table from me as sellers and said, look, if you can convince us to list with you, you can convince any person in the public. Folks, it's not just, can you memorize a script? It's, could you go in front of your team and convince them to list with you? Could you go in front of Charlotte if you're on her team and get Charlotte? Charlotte knows every objection to throw at you. Charlotte knows everything that you should. Can you still overcome the situation and get to a point? Because if you can list Charlotte, you can probably list any Mr. and Mrs. Smith that are out there. They're not going to be half as hard on you. And if you're running a team, what a powerful, powerful takeaway right there to remember. Don't just let them go represent you and your brand until they've earned the right to represent you and your brand.
Well, this young man that we let go, who got a lead that had one of our leads in the door, and he's a brand new agent. Well, the property he went to on a listing appointment was a multi-family property. Yeah. Now, I mean, again, that's not your cookie cutter house, right? So the guy's asking about cap rate and all these things. And his response ultimately was, he goes, well, I'm just not the agent for you. And I'm like, oh my God, just smack this.
Yeah. You're like, I could have went with you and
I'm the agent
for them. Yeah.
And so, And so that it's back to the systems. That's why we ask people to participate. And it's just like when your mother makes you eat spinach and you don't like it, or you're in school and they make you run track. Well, there's a reason for that. And, the hardest thing in the leadership role is making people understand that this really is for their benefit. And then making them understand why we are holding them accountable to that. And they don't always do it. I mean, you look at my Brivity scorecard, it's not the best. We're constant. It's a constant thing. You can't just set it and forget it. You've got to be working on that all the time.
I wish we could, Charlotte, in our world at Place, we've got values and our values are growth. And the last letter in the word growth is H for humility. And I wish like that you could test that on somebody. Because I think like a new agent coming in, they got to be smart, right? They
smart. Yeah.
Yeah. But they got to be humble. Like I just looked to my mother, who I think is an incredibly intelligent lady who had this really big, first year in the business. But as much as anything, it was her humility to come in, put her ego aside and go, I'm smart. Like, I'm sure that guy on your team that was aggressive and wanting to get out, I bet he was pretty smart too. But it's the humility to go, you know what? There's a defined way that's proven to do this. Let me be humble enough to say, put my ego aside and go, I should tap into that instead of just walking in the door and all of a sudden I walk into a multifamily and I'm like, I don't even know what cap rate means.
don't even know what that means, right? So, yeah.
Charlotte, I want to ask you, you're talking about systems, and you have some, and we can dive into more of them. Yet Brivity provides you with some of those systems as well, like a day in the life of Brivity. Is that one of the systems that you've just said, look, somebody smarter than me built this system. It makes perfect sense. We are adopting it. We're going to show everybody on the team the value to it. And then just using the systems Brivity's already built for you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, why reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, we do have things that we do our best to pre-onboard so that they are set up and ready and more ready. Them's not good English, but they are more prepared for Brivity when we put it in front of them, right? So we've done a little prep on that. But, day in the life of Brivity is so, I mean, and it takes so little time to do that in a work day. I mean, it's just a great system. What I find is the people who are newer agents, real estate salespeople tend to either be fantastic at sales, but they are the most disorganized people ever in the world. Yeah. Or they are so organized, it's color coded, it looks beautiful, but they can't sell anything to anybody, right? And so we tend to be one on the spectrum. So my good salespeople, particularly ones that have been experienced, struggle with Brivity. Now they're doing production, they're doing things because that's making them be more organized than they're used to being. But for people who are newer in this industry, I wish I'd had that 40 years ago. Oh my gosh, how much further along would I be had I kept up with everything? I had a list of everything. I had it all organized, and I had a system that kept up with my people for me. And, I love that we can do everything in one deal. I can keep up with transactions in there. I can keep up with past clients, which we have a lot of past clients. It's all in one thing. That's what's been so wonderful.
Is there a time length that is obvious to you as a team leader? Like, what I mean by this is, in 90 days, can I tell they're following the day in the life or whatever this is? And at 90 days, I'm either cutting them from the team because clearly they're just never going to follow the system. They fought it already, or they've clearly shown. Is there kind of a timeline that people should be looking for if they're building an organization?
I mean, I think 90 days is perfect, and do as we said, not necessarily as Charlotte has done in the past, because I'm like, well, you do your best to be nice. But I mean, at this stage of the game, time's not getting shorter. I've not got all those many years left to do this. So I'm much more serious about who are we looking for? Who's our avatar? And here's what we are. We are learning based. We are systematized. And if you will listen to us, we will make sure, we will guarantee that you will make all the money you want to make. Now, in return for that, you got to do what we say and follow those systems. So that's what our launch system is. And, the processes for that, we give those 90 days. We might give a little, another 30 or 45 days by giving a performance improvement plan. But after that, if you're not in the middle of that, this has been a turnover year for us. So if you're wanting to listen to someone who has no turnover, they're
doing it wrong if they have no turnover.
So but we've been purposeful of saying, like one of our top agents refused to do some things. And finally we said, okay, we're teaching these systems to our team. And so we let him go. And I hated to do that, but when they draw the line in the sand for you and they say, I refuse to do what you asked me to do, you've either got to man up and do it, or you're not going to be able to be the leader you need to be for the team.
The new gal that joined, you said that, she was on this team and it was like, good luck, basically, or, here's a few leads to call or something, versus like, hey, we come in the morning and we do this. Can you act like I'm her and you're like set it up for me? Like, how do you convince her that you have the team that's got the system that's going to go out and help her know what to do each day? Like, what does that sound like as you're kind of, enticing an agent to come, partner with you?
So Bob, one of the things you've been talking about is that you just don't have business. And, I can really appreciate that a lot of team members really are frustrated with that on many teams. And, if I could sit here and guarantee you that you will have business, how does that sound to you? Does that sound good? If I said, Bob, I'm going to guarantee that you will have business.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really good. Are you going to tell me exactly what to do to find it? Because I think that's maybe my challenge.
I'm going to guarantee you. And you know what? I don't even have to make it up myself. There are hundreds and thousands of people around this country using the systems that we do right now. And I don't have to just rely on whether or not I think it's right. They're proving that it does work. And so I'm having that opportunity to share that with you. Now, there's a catch to my guarantee, though. Are you ready?
Always is.
There's always a catch.
Give it to me.
To work, you have to do it. If I say to you, Bob, we've got this thing called Day in the Life of Brivity, and for every day for an hour, we're gonna tell you exactly what to do, exactly who to call, what their phone number is, exactly what to say, when to say it, what's the best time of day to call. If I show you all of that, Bob, would you commit to me to spending 1 hour a day doing that?
Yeah.
Cool. I can guarantee you'll make your money. And
let me ask you that, so out of character here, does anybody ever press you on that? Show me, what does that look like? How many calls am I going to make in an hour? Or do they go in like that?
We can use our stats, although they are not as complete as they should be. There are many people in Brivity's world that do a much better job than we do. But I can, everyone comes into real estate wanting to make how much money a year?
100,000.
100,000 a year, right? And so in our world, we know exactly how many houses that is based on our average price. It's going to be 22 houses, 18 to 22 houses, depending on their average price. And so we know exactly how many calls they need to make, how many appointments they need to go on to make that happen. So I feel good about saying I can guarantee that to you if you will guarantee to me back in my direction that you're willing to do that work. So like our new agent, I was in a meeting in our office this morning. We are sponsoring Financial Peace University for our agents right now. So I was in a meeting with that this morning. And so I walked out and there she is. She says, I'm so excited. She says, this is my second day in the life of Brivity. And I was like, yes. So she has, she's got her sphere in there and all. So super exciting.
What other systems are you guys running over there that you think your agents are plugging into?
Our daily power-ups, we do every Monday. Instead of doing a different power-up system, we are doing book club. And so our agents really enjoy that. And because each week we have a different chapter presented by a different member of the team. So it gets them up presenting and talking about that. So we do that as well. We do every other week meetings in person. The rest of the time we're doing things on Zoom as far as meetings go. But those are training things. There's systems in there as well. Because I do have a director of sales, her job is to those coaching times that she does, those are systems that we run. She has scripts that she does. We do in our Power Up things, we go over scripts. We're teaching those things. So it's like university inside of real estate, right? And not to be overwhelming, but it's not going to hurt any of us to spend 30 minutes to an hour a day learning something.
I couldn't agree more with that. Since I always kind of wear the banner on my forehead here, do you guys lean into some of the models at Place or some of the systems that Place offers? Are your agents going through launch, for example? I know that Place has a pretty developed launch course. Are those agents plugging into that?
Absolutely. I have an agent who's on our team that had been on our team in the past, and she's a very experienced agent. So she's going to go back through experienced agent launch. And I love launch. It's over time, because I've been with Place for a little while as well. It's evolved into something that to me, there's nothing better in the industry out there as far as just teaching people, whether they're new or experienced, how to get in step with following the plan. And I love that we have so many training things for learn how to be a listing agent. Here's how to deliver a buyer's presentation. All sorts of things, particularly for agents that are new or newer in the business.
Bob, I want to throw a knuckleball, right?
Okay.
Now, I'm not a softball for you to just knock out of the park, Charlotte. I'm going to throw a tough one here. Other than the fact that I'm going to say financial peace, really? You haven't checked out the Win, Make, Give, Wealth series? Okay, side note.
We've already done that one. We actually did. We sponsored this as a recruiting tool for we're doing Financial Peace University, but only for real estate agents. Because trust me, they all need it, right?
Amen.
I will tell you that for somebody that like is concerned about their money, like the wealth series does kind of seem like this far off thing when really all they're searching for is financial peace. So I can see that being the gateway to, some agent that's out there and doesn't know where their next paycheck is coming from and needs that peace financially. Like that does make a lot of sense.
He just named his better with that. That's all. So you've got a system for them you've got Brivity systems. You've got day in the life. Right. You've got place systems, onboarding. You've got Charlotte Mabry systems that you have that have just come with you over 40 years and been developed that go on top of that. You have financial systems where you're helping your agents. Do you have, because here's where I see most agents have the challenge, it's the burnout that comes. Do you have any sort of counterbalance in life or energy system that you actually bring to your people as well so that they take a certain number of days off, every certain thing, they do certain things like this to keep their energy up? Because it's a demanding career.
Great question. Ideal weekly calendar. So we be sure as we look at that they've got some time off in there. We also strive that at least once a month or every other month that we do something fun together as a team. Now that isn't time off, but that's at least that we're stepping outside of just work and doing something fun. But I think that ideal weekly calendar is the best thing to just, and we as leaders and coaches are being sure they've got that and got it blocked in there and that they protect that time.
Chad,
let's take him in as a complete person.
Sure, yeah. Absolutely. And even to the point, talking about wealth building, my husband dabbles and does a great job with stocks and all sorts of things in that arena. So he was in our team meeting 2 or 3 weeks ago, just talking about those terms. What does it mean to do an IPO? What does it mean to buy stock? And, what are things that you look for? And so we're always doing our best to deliver teaching around life skills, right? Not just selling real estate, but those life skills. Okay, you've made the money. Now what do you do with it? So
God, that's such a huge deal. By the way, I think like a lot of teams are on the front side of that, like, hey, let's help you make money. But without the backside of that, you're going to be doing this job for the next 100 years, essentially, right?
The other thing was we strive to help people build teams inside our team. That's something I love to do. And so there's not a lot of material out there in the real estate space on how to do that. And so I've used my people as guinea pigs sort of to help develop the systems around that. But I've got 3 different sets of people right now working to build teams inside our team and to teach them the skill of leading their people. And so we're getting there little by little, but that I think is another way to help people understand they can have money but not have to work all the time because they do understand the power of using those other folks around them to support them.
Man, Charlotte, you got a lot going on over there. A lot of good systems. Sounds like Place is you're leveraging some of those systems over to Place. Some of those things you guys are doing on the ground. Do me a favor as we kind of get ready to wrap up here. Leave us with just one thought around systems. Maybe just like the concept of building repeatable processes into your business. Just finish us off with kind of a double stamp on how important this is.
Well, it is obviously very important. And I would say, don't reinvent the wheel. If there's something out there that is, my specialty in real estate is I'm a doggone good copycat. And, I'm not unintelligent, but why would I redo something that's already, someone's developed for me that I can maybe put my spin on or whatever. And so knowing that you have to have them, why would you try to create them? And many of the people that have come into our team's world have joined us for that very reason. They know they need them, but they feel very overwhelmed. And how do I come up with what do I do next? And so there's no sense in reinventing the wheel when those things are out there.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you, Charlotte. You're amazing. I know you got agents and you're recruiting and you got this, systems, and we probably took you away from a Brivity daily routine that you and your agents are out there running. So thank you so much for joining us. Extra special thanks for being our first repeat guest. And I know that you came back because you were disappointed that it was just Chad last time, but
yeah, but we did talk about you behind your back.
I knew it. Of course. All right, Charlotte, I look forward to seeing you next week down in Arizona. And thanks again for joining us, okay?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Bye, everybody. Chad and I will be back next week. We're not talking recruiting next week, Chad. We're going to talk something else, okay? I love that shirt, man. I love that shirt. All right, bye, everybody. See you, Charlotte. Thank you.